Hey guys, how are you guys doing? So I received this word this morning, and this is a word that connects with the word that I posted yesterday pertaining to it is Exodus season. Okay, it is the mass exodus. It is the mass exodus. If you have not checked out those videos, then this video may not make any sense until you actually check out those videos. But God said he's dealing with the army of Pharaoh. Okay. So before, like I said, how the sea wiped the army of Pharaoh, and Pharaoh, God is doing it different this time. He is dealing with the army first to set an example. Some of you guys, um, this has to happen. And the reason for this, God confirmed to me this morning, is because he has to take the Pharaoh out of your life before he can release a specific blessing. Okay, this is a blessing that is according to his will for your life. This is a blessing that has to take place, and nobody can come in between this blessing, this purpose that God has for you. Okay, remember how Esther had a purpose to free the Jews, right? Moses, his purpose was to release the Israelites and to help them get to the promised land. That was God's instructions for Moses, right? It was to help the Israelites. So listen to this. Pharaoh already was stubborn. And no matter how much God said, leave them alone, let my people go, Pharaoh did not listen. There was a point where he listened. And that was when God took his firstborn son and the firstborn sons of the land, okay? But then Pharaoh's heart hardened again, and he went after the Israelites. But let me tell you something. In the book of Exodus, it says that Pharaoh's heart's already hardened. And God knew his heart was already hardened. So God allowed that to happen again for him to go back after them. So God's will can be fulfilled, which means had God not allowed Pharaoh to go back and then wiped him out, Pharaoh would have probably continued going after God's people. And that would have probably prevented God's will from being fulfilled. Do you see what I'm saying? Some of you guys, if God doesn't do what he's about to do, some of these people would not stop. And that's going to get in the way of God's will. And God won't let anybody get in the way of his will. See, what people don't understand is when they try to block you, when they tried to kill you, when they did what they did to you, what they didn't understand was they were not messing. They were not messing with your will. They were not messing with just you. They were messing with God's will. They were messing with God. Because you have an assignment, a very important assignment that has to be fulfilled. This is an assignment that has already been written in the kingdom of heaven before you were even born. It was written and sealed before you were even born. This is in the books in the kingdom of heaven. Your story was already written. God is not going to let anybody come in between his will, his plan for your life. So that's why some of you guys, you're noticing, God, where is my breakthrough? Why haven't I been able to get to the next chapter of my life? Why am I not moving towards my purpose yet? Because this has to be done first before God can release what he wants to release in your life. This has to be done. God has to deal with the main culprit, the one who is stubborn, the one who is, or the bunch who are stubborn, the ones who are going to keep coming after you and trying to get in between his plan for your life. God has to deal with them first. Once God deals with them, you'll notice that everything will start falling into place. You'll notice that. You ever see some people who are like struggling, going through a lot of warfare, they're going through so much persecution, trials, and tribulations. And then as soon as, something happens to the person that has been keeping them bound, you notice that blessings are poured on them. And some people will twist that. Some people will say, oh, they probably sacrificed someone. They probably did. A lot of that happens. There's people out there who literally were going through what we're going through, and they literally had a witch or a warlock that kept their name on altars, that kept them on altars. And then when God steps in after warning that warlock and witch on multiple occasions, and that warlock and witch does not stop, and then finally God steps in, and you guys notice that as soon as that warlock or witch, is gone, or something happens, or they stop because they got sick, or whatever the reason is, you notice that that person that was under affliction, you notice that all the opportunities and blessings that was being hindered, that they were being blocked from getting to, it's suddenly released. And here's the thing, people on the outside wouldn't even know unless they have a relationship with God and God shows them the prophecy, or God shows them what happened. But some people on the outside wouldn't even know. Some people on the outside, they will just see the person go from struggling to being blessed, not realizing that before that even happened, whoever was keeping them bound had to be dealt with. That's why they're all of a sudden went from struggling to being blessed overnight, because somebody was dealt with who was keeping them on an altar. And then some people, they will see that and say, oh, that person did something, all of a sudden they received their blessing. That's not always the case. Yes, it does happen sometimes, but that's not always the case. Sometimes the person that was dealt with, or the person that passes, is the very person that was keeping them on an altar. Sometimes that's the case, and keeping them bound and blocking their destiny. And God had to come in like he did with Pharaoh, and God had to remove them so they can fulfill their destiny. That's what I mean. When God removes the Pharaoh from your life, people are going to know who the Pharaoh was. People are going to know who was afflicting you. People are going to know who the witch and the warlock was. And the reason being is because once God deals with them, people are going to start seeing your life change. Be prepared for some accusations. Yes, because some people don't want to truly believe that you're anointed, that you're blessed, and God really has his hand on you. They're going to come through with these lies and rumors to make it seem like, oh, you're getting your blessings through other ways. A lot of people like to do that because they feel like God doesn't have enough power to bless someone to that extent. And that is a lie. They love giving the devil too much credit. That's the problem. God does bless people to that extent. Look what happened to David. Look what happened to Solomon. Look what happened to Esther. Look what happened to Daniel. See, people will forget the word when it's time to fulfill that jealous, evil spirit that's within them that they don't want to deal with when they see somebody blessed. All because they don't want to believe that that person's truly anointed, right? But anyways, I just want to get this confirmation to some of you guys that yes, once the pharaohs have been dealt with, some of y'all, God is going to release certain breakthroughs that was supposed to be released a long time ago. Okay? I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.